Welcome to another inspiring episode of the Elite Expert Insider Podcast. Hosts Melanie Johnson and Jenn Foster are the owners of Elite Online Publishing. They're both Wall Street Journal, USA Today best-selling authors. We're really glad you're here because this podcast was designed for you. Meet industry experts that share their secrets and strategies. Get successful results for your business in money, relationships, health, and your life. Each episode is going to inspire you to take action towards reaching your greatness.
Hey everyone, welcome to our show. I'm Melanie Johnson. So glad you're joining us today. I'm here with my co-owner of Elite Online Publishing, Jenn Foster. Hey, Jenn.
Hey everyone, how's it going today?
Oh man, I'm so excited. We have one of our favorite people of all time, Lauren Golden, with us. She is one of our international #1 best-selling authors. She started Free Mama. She has helped thousands, literally thousands of women start their businesses, leave that corporate world, be able to work from home, manage their kids. And they've made millions of dollars, these women, just by her guidance and helping them through this. I just love her story. So if you're interested in getting out of the rat race or having a successful business from home, or even just having work-life balance in some way, she offers that too. So Lauren, welcome. Thanks for coming today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here and reconnect with you ladies.
Yeah, I know I'm shouting. It's just because I'm so excited, you know?
People often say that I'm heard before I am seen. So I too have a powerful voice, Melanie.
Yeah.
Well, tell us, Lauren, a little bit about how you got started with the Free Mama and how you started helping other moms leave their jobs and stay at home and work.
Yeah, it's so fun to go back and tell this story now because when I first started doing interviews, I was about 2 years removed from my initial freedom journey. Now it's more like 8.5 years. So a lot has changed and I just keep evolving in what freedom means to me. And I'll get to that here in a second. If you can see my background, if you're watching and not just listening, you might be wondering what the heck's going on. But when I first started, it really does go back to childhood and I won't be lengthy, but I grew up with a stay-at-home mom and an entrepreneur father. So I saw hard work, but also very present parents. That was normal to me. That was what was modeled to me. And so when I became a mom, I felt really conflicted because my mom had stayed home. I had created kind of an internal story. That's what a good mom was. They were present. They were there physically. And so when I got pregnant with my first, who's now 11 for context, I was really struggling. And when I went back to work, we needed both of our incomes. So I went back to work and I reconciled very quickly that I love working. I love producing. I love making my own money. I love all of these things. But by the time my second kiddo was born 2 years later, I felt like a failure everywhere. I was stretched so thin. I had a crazy commute. I really only had about an hour and a half with my kids every night. And so I was really miserable because I enjoyed working, but I felt like someone was always telling me what my priorities were, and I wasn't really living a reflection of those. And so if you've ever Googled how to make money from home, I kind of joke, I tried all those things. I tried the network marketing, I tried surveys, I tried secret shopping, I tried everything. And it wasn't until I really realized how accessible freelancing is to all of us as a way to make legitimate money from home that things really took off. I started as a social media manager. As I progressed, I learned about virtual assistant work, online business management, and really was able to tap into a lot of different skill sets before figuring out what I really loved and was good at. So of course, it wasn't a straight path up, but during this time, I was able to quit my job. I was working about 4, maybe 5 hours on busy days, but part-time hours. And I more than replaced my full-time income doing this within the first 12 months. So about a year after that, I started getting this really big. I mean, I really don't know how to describe it other than just a calling. It wasn't even an idea. I knew that I was supposed to teach other moms how to do what I had done. And at this time, I knew I had so many friends signing up for network marketing companies. They were losing money, and not to knock MLMs too hard, but statistically speaking, 99% of people are going to lose money in those. And here I was walking away from my job, being with my kids more. Yes, I was working. This isn't some like get rich quick. I was working, but I was working on my own terms for the first time in my adult life. And it was really powerful. And so this download was, what if this wasn't about you? What if you went through all of this and making mistakes and failing and figuring out and finding success so that you could teach it to other people? And that's where the Free Mama really came from.
So, so many women go through this all the time. And I think they struggle with, like, they want to do it, but they don't know where to start. And first of all, like you talked about, what were my skills? So how do they figure out what their superpowers are? How do you walk them through that of finding what type of freelance work can I do? What will I have, and get enough clients to support this? And then, okay, now I've discovered that. And then how do I even start? Like, what are the step by, like, step 1, step 2, step 3 of just getting started and figuring out what you should do?
Well, I'm going to unpack those separately, Melanie. So as far as like your skill set, I always suggest start with the low hanging fruit. And also, we don't know what we don't know. I worked as a social media manager for a year and had never heard of virtual assistants or online business management. I was familiar with these basic marketing concepts from my previous job. So for me, I describe that as the low hanging fruit. I have a freebie that I give to everybody. You guys can find it online. It's the freemamamovement.com/70 skills, but it now has over 100 skills that entrepreneurs are hiring for. And that's that you don't know what you don't know. I always tell people, when you download this list, you will be shocked. I guarantee you will find at least a dozen things that you already know how to do that other people are paying money for. And you just might not be aware of that, like confirming people's appointments, answering their emails, like setting basic things up online that don't require a degree, a certification, special training, and people will pay you money. So it's that low hanging fruit. What really starts to make freelancing satisfying, though, and where you'll make more money, is when your passions meet your skill sets. And sometimes you've got to play around to figure out, what your interests really are. If you loved art, maybe check out canva.com and start playing with something in a creative space. If you've journaled since you were, 8 years old, maybe look into copywriting. So I think having kind of that self-awareness, or going to your friends and family that can reflect back to you, but it really starts with, what are the things that people are hiring for? As far as the 1, 2, 3, I don't even need 3. I will break it down because I have worked with so many women. I know what the number one obstacle is. It's telling people. You have to tell people what you're doing if you want to start freelancing. And it seems really obvious, but you would be shocked at how long this becomes a barrier for so many people. We create a lot of stories about, like, well, what if my employer finds out? Well, do you have an employee handbook? Is there any sort of conflict with having a side gig? If there's not, that's a green light, and all of your fears are in your head. So start telling people what you're doing, people you already know, connect with new business owners. And most people really want you to be successful. They want to help you. And so kind of getting your foot in the door, it actually is pretty easy once you get comfortable starting to talk about the ways that you can help other business owners.
Yeah, I love that you talk about low hanging fruit, because a lot of times I think people, like, and especially brand new moms or moms who are trying to get into this for the first time, think, oh, well, I don't know how to do all these things. I'm not a social media manager. I don't know how to do all these virtual things. But the truth is, yeah, you can answer emails. The things that they're paying for people to do aren't as difficult as you think they might be.
Mhm.
And then I love that you talk about telling people about that you're a freelancer, because even just going to like a networking meeting, or even like a meetup for coffee in your area, and just letting people know you're a freelancer and you a virtual assistant that does this and this, then they'll be spreading the word.
Yeah, the barrier for entry to get started is really tremendously low. And I think that's one of the reasons I'm so passionate about freelancing, especially for women, whether you're trying to get out of a career or you've been home and, we know inflation and grocery prices and all the things. Maybe you just want fun money for your family to take, better vacations or whatever that is. It's really an accessible industry to get started in. As far as like growth and scalability, of course, the next step is, how do I specialize, or how do I niche down? How do I enhance some of these skill sets that I already have and turn it into something that can be more lucrative, because maybe not as many people know how to do those things. So I definitely recommend being someone who's curious, who's a self-starter, who's a lifelong learner. Those are the people who tend to do really well as freelancers.
We talked about growing, right? And then telling your list, but there's other ways to get business. There's that next level, and that can be confusing. Do I have a website? Do I post on social media? What are the systems? Do I have a landing page? Do I make a funnel? So you say, hey, you can steal some of my stuff. So what is some of that stuff that you let them use, that you're like, hey, I've already created this stuff. You can adapt this for me and this works. So what does some of that stuff look like that'll help me? I got my skill set now, and now how do I take it to the next level so people actually really find me and connect with me?
Oh yeah. Well, I have a million resources, but my favorite resource in terms of figuring out some of these how-tos is Free Mama TV. It's my YouTube channel, and we have over 200 episodes now that will walk you through actually a lot of the things you just said, Melanie. So yes, there is a strategy where you use social media to connect with other business owners. The great thing about being a freelancer is that you can be fully remote. You can be totally virtual from the people that you serve. One of the things that I'll hear from moms first learning about freelancing is like, well, I live in a really small town. And I'm like, great, there's billions of people on this planet. Like, no problem. We can connect with them on the internet. So there's social media strategies, networking face to face, of course. And I have tutorials that walk you through how to do all of these different ways to connect with people. So Free Mama TV is going to be your best bet for finding some of those resources totally free.
Awesome. Tell us, what are your thoughts on AI? Because I know a lot of people know about it and a lot of people don't. And a lot of people think they know about it, but they really don't know about it. So what are your thoughts about ChatGPT and artificial intelligence?
Yep, I've actually got 2 YouTube videos about this too, because it is something that a lot of people are talking about. Maybe not new freelancers so much as entrepreneurs already in this space. You know, you hear rumblings of like certain jobs are going to be gone. I think that's really dramatic. I think the way I like to look at it, Jen, is I like to look at the opportunities. You know, the cool thing about having a business in the virtual space is you're never that behind because things move so rapidly. So let's say you're listening to this interview right now and you're like, well, I want to be a social media manager, but Lauren said she started this 8 years ago. Like, why would someone hire me over someone like Lauren? Because I don't do TikTok at all. Like, I refuse to get on Threads. Like, I'm a dinosaur. I like Facebook. Like, you know what I mean? There's always going to be different ways to niche down. There's always new things happening. And AI is part of this story with this fast progression of technology. There are going to be people looking for AI specialists, and it's brand new. So you're not behind. Learn how to use AI to help your clients. And now all of a sudden you have a hireable skill set, because even an entrepreneur who's going to adapt AI, whether it's for writing books, writing social media content, answering questions, creating programs, whatever those things are, it doesn't, robots aren't humans still. As intelligent as they are, they don't have the emotional intelligence that a human can bring to the table. However, and you can actually train AI to understand your client's voice. You can train them to understand the pain points of your audience, thus making the AI more effective. But a human has to be the person to go in and do that. So I definitely think AI is going to shake things up, but I actually think it's going to create new opportunities for freelancers that didn't previously exist.
So give us on the last note of a mom who's maybe stuck or afraid of taking the next move. What motivational thing can you say to them to really encourage them to move forward?
I get it. I get it. I think a lot of people, especially women, we're waiting to feel confident before we start something. But confidence isn't what you need. You need courage. You are going to feel afraid. I feel afraid all the time. I've just now got 8 years of getting my reps in of doing it anyway. And I've built that trust with myself that when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to follow through. And these are things that you have complete control over. So if you want to change your circumstances, whether that's financially, your lifestyle, whatever that, you know, your environment, maybe you're in a toxic work environment, you have the ability to do that, but it just takes a few courageous steps forward. And then the confidence builds, then your knowledge builds, you know, then you get to the next step. And I think a lot of people look at like Z, or they look at me or someone else and they're like, well, that feels really hard. Yeah, but you're forgetting all the steps in between. So just take that first courageous step, whatever that looks like. Maybe it's going to Free Mama TV, checking out my book, or just Googling freelancing and learning more about it in general. But take that first courageous step. I promise you, everybody who's already gone before you probably was scared too.
I love that. Well, tell people where they can go to get more information and to get your book and your website.
Yeah, thefreemama.com is a landing page that kind of has everything in the Free Mama landscape. Facebook, like I said, I'm a dinosaur. It's my favorite place to hang out. It'll link you to all of the other things in the Free Mama world where we can hang out and connect. And you can also find my book there.
Well, thanks for joining us today, Lauren. We really appreciate it. And I think you inspired a lot of women today. So we're happy to have that happen every time we have our show. So thanks. If you're looking to write a book and becoming a best-selling author, make sure you go to eliteonlinepublishing.com. We can guarantee Wall Street Journal, USA Today bestseller, as well as Amazon. Just fill out that author submission form and we'll see if you're a good fit for us. Have a great week, everyone. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, are you looking to increase your revenue, build credibility, and elevate your brand? This podcast is brought to you by Elite Online Publishing, an innovative publishing and full spectrum marketing company. They will publish and market your book to make it a #1 bestseller. Becoming an author is the best way to market your business. So contact them at eliteonlinepublishing.com today. All of their authors become #1 bestsellers.